All right. Let's get into, well, Stephen Miller had this to share with us. So, listen, right now, there is a major PSYOP narrative going around that the Trump administration is actually not getting anything done. They haven't arrested big names, and therefore they're somehow protecting them, or Trump is one of them. Trump is one of the globalists. He's controlled by them, despite the overwhelming evidence that shares this, that proves this otherwise. Recently, I was on a show, Rich Does Politics, with a guy who is awesome. Steve Kuhn is awesome, but he was feeling a little black-pilled about some of Trump's connections. And while I understand from a surface level how it looks, it also, in my opinion, just shows that, he wasn't taking into consideration how Trump does stuff. And listen, here's Stephen Miller kind of giving us an example of what they're seeing. And if you think this is something that's easy to clean up, it's not. But the fact they're even mentioning it tells me that we're in the works. So listen to this.
What we found since President Trump came into office is that the Democrats have set up a system to funnel hundreds of billions and ultimately trillions of dollars to migrants that are in our country, oftentimes from places like Somalia. So as an example, ICE recently asked a group of illegal immigrants that were in detention whether or not they were receiving Medicaid. Half of them raised their hands and volunteered that they were on Medicaid, just volunteered that. These aren't the ones who are hiding it, right? They also asked illegal aliens how they paid their medical bills, and they said that if they don't have Medicaid, they go to hospitals, they get free care there, and they bill it to the taxpayers. So they aren't paying for any of their own health care in this country. This is one example. And we've seen this over and over and over again. So under President Trump's leadership, and then of course with JD and the head of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, we are going to see the first ever effort in American history to reclaim the ultimately trillions of dollars that were stolen from taxpayers.
Did you hear what he said there? So not only is he exposing all this, okay, he's exposing what the system was for the illegals, the trillions of dollars that gone out, but at the end there, he says we're working to reclaim it. Now, I don't know how they're going to reclaim trillions of dollars, and most of it's already been spent, but the spigot has been turned off. That's a huge win right there going forward. Now, with that spigot turned off, we can start growing and outgrowing our deficits, especially as they turn off more and more of it and expose more and more of the fraud. However, guys, you don't put this stuff out there unless you're trying to make the change, okay? Because otherwise it sets you up for failure. And again, they would not keep directing attention to this if they weren't doing anything. Now, here's a great example of what they're doing. WAPO, Washington Post, recently found Trump's the only president to remove large numbers of men who have lived here longer. Median days before deportation by Obama was 25. So they were only deporting people here less than 25 days. That is because the vast majority of deportations under Obama, were turning away people at the border. So if that person stepped 1 foot in America and they said, go back, they counted that as a deportation. That's how he juiced his numbers. And now everybody's like, Obama deported 3 million people. No, he didn't. He didn't. They turned away a bunch of people and deported a few, and they juiced those numbers so they could make them look tough. But look at this. Under Trump, it's 1,000. That's 3 years. Trump's removals he's removing long-term illegals, not just recent arrivals and turnaways. So the Democrats would juice their numbers by turning people away at the border, just saying, listen, we're being tough. Meanwhile, they'd let a bunch new in. Trump is actually the first one getting rid of those that are here. And here, look at this graph since Trump came into office. Remember, he came in January 20th, 2025 right here. And then this is this year. Boosh. Get him out. That's huge, guys. See, this is the kind of stuff we've just never seen. We haven't seen this in our lifetime, unless you're really old. Unless you're like 80 plus. So again, Trump's not doing anything. It's just insane to me. Anybody who looks at the facts for 2 minutes cannot make that argument. Now, here's another perfect example. Oh, there's no arrests. Well, tell that to these kids. FBI and Texas authorities under Kash Patel arrest 276 suspected child predators in a sting over the weekend. 89 children were rescued. Oh, but Epstein files. Epstein. Oh, I can't stop talking about Epstein. You know, Reid Hoffman, who I'd love to see behind bars for being one of the top guys with Epstein. I guarantee you, we stop Reid Hoffman right now, even though he's a big name. That's one guy. And he probably doesn't have 89 children we're saving right there. Bill Gates, same deal. Now, do I want to see those guys go after? Absolutely. But they're going to have to build the case, and they're going to have to go after them. But you know what's more important to me right now, and should be to everybody who actually cares about this stuff? How about the people actually doing it right now under the radar? The hundreds and thousands of them. In the last year, Kash Patel and the FBI have taken away over 3,000 child predators. And they've rescued thousands of kids. That matters. Those are facts. All right. And I'm sorry, but everybody like Thomas Massey out there saying they don't do anything, they're protecting pedophiles. This administration has taken out more pedophiles than any other administration in history. Those are stone cold facts. You don't have to like them. They're definitely not being reported, but it's there, folks. It's there. Here's a great little video Kash Patel put together of the FBI and what they're knocking out.
There's a war being fought for our neighborhoods, and the FBI is leading the charge. By backing local cops and launching massive joint task forces, they're leading an all-out assault on the thugs, tearing our communities apart. Working hand in hand, they've hunted down and locked up more than 45,000 violent criminals. Because of that relentless push, violent crime arrests are up 185%, and the national murder rate just hit its lowest level since 1937. Take a second and let that sink in. 1937. It means your risk of being a victim's dropped at the fastest rate in modern history. Violent crime plunged 10% nationwide, and the FBI didn't stop there. They went straight after the syndicates, completely wiping 2,450 street gangs off the map. That 322% increase choked off their ability to terrorize your communities, so you and your family could walk the streets in peace. And the poison flooding our streets? 2,600 kilograms of deadly fentanyl were seized. A 56% increase, wiping more than 1 billion lethal doses completely off our streets. So many lives saved. We're trouncing the Biden administration's best years. People can argue all they want, but the numbers don't lie. With the FBI leading the charge, our streets are being reclaimed and our families are finally protected.
That was a sick video. These people are so good at social media. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to other politician ever how good this administration is at social media, because that was a banger video. Not only were the numbers astounding, but come on, Hawaii Five-0, that's awesome. That's awesome. My dad used to love that show. Book 'em, Dano. Book 'em, Casho. So good. But listen, did you see those numbers are crazy? They're crazy. I mean, this is legit, guys. I mean, 2,600, the fentanyl, you know how far down overdoses are right now? They've just collapsed overdose rates in the U.S. It's amazing. The street gangs. You don't think it matters that we're taking out MS-13 and Tren de Agua gang members? Yeah, that matters. That matters. You know, and what Trump is showing us, guys, is and with Kash Patel and the FBI, is that the FBI was redeemable. It was redeemable because most of the agents there were probably good people, and they got rid of the bad guys. Trump came out with this weekend saying, New York Times wrote a story titled, Trump administration sees striking exodus of legal talent. And Trump responds, as though that's a bad thing. When actually it's very good. The people leaving are radical left deep state lunatics who are destroying our country and weaponizing government. Many of them didn't leave, but were fired. Failing New York Times writes this makes it sound like it's a terrible thing when actually it's the opposite. We want people that will make America great again, not people trying to destroy our country, being put in by Obama, Biden, and many cases they shouldn't have been representing the U.S. in the first place. Let them go on to bigger, better, brighter things in the future, in quotation marks. I fully support that and wish them well. There's people who follow Trump know that anytime he says "I wish them well," he's dogging on somebody. That's the facts. So, we've seen that over the last 10 years. So, anyways, but it's clean up, and it's showing us that the DOJ, the FBI, and maybe even the CIA, who knows, were salvageable. You get out the libtards, the liberals, the left wingers who are running stuff, the legal areas, and you put in real people who care about crimes and get good leadership in there, and look what can happen. It's amazing what we're seeing. Now, I had a lot of people last week kind of scared about what can happen with the riots coming up. And we see this in New Jersey where they're starting to ramp them up again and I told you guys, we have a much better handle on this than we did in the first Trump term because of revamping the FBI, because of stronger people in charge of DHS, because of people like Pete Hegseth blocking the coup. And we saw it last summer when they tried to get the riot started and it was shut right down. Well, look at this. After conducting multiple busloads of arrests, New Jersey riot cops packed up and headed out. Why? Because they got the rioters to run away. ICE and the Trump administration were able now to get the New Jersey cops to come and do their job. Imagine that. This didn't happen in 2020. This didn't happen in the first term. Just again, another perfect example of how much more control Trump has over the situation this time. This riot that was building up at this ICE facility is over. They kicked their butts and finished it. And it's just going to go away. It wasn't able to build up in anything better. We're seeing more and more of this. So the doomers who keep thinking like everything, like they're just waiting for that magic moment. It's like the same people with Iran and the super duper secret hypersonic missiles that are capable of destroying our entire Navy. The liars who've been, those same people and others like them are just waiting for, the foot to drop on something. They're just waiting for something bad to happen and it proves that all this progress doesn't matter because they just have these super secret weapons still in hand. And I keep telling everybody, I don't think so. I think we're past that. I think the Trump administration won and is winning and is in charge and has things in control. It doesn't mean every little ounce of everything's in control, but it means the broader scope of things are in control and they can keep it from getting out of hand now. And we just saw more evidence this weekend of that. Now, with all of this going on, the New York Times launched a hit piece on JD Vance again. Now, I did a whole thing on JD Vance last week, and I got to say, it's one of the most controversial subjects on my channel. Always have people, I don't trust Vance. They believe all the Whitney Webb crap, the technocracy, he's controlled by Peter Thiel. Then why do they keep attacking him? New York Times reported this weekend trying to take out Vance again. Susie Wiles, Trump chief of staff, recently advised Vance to take a break from social media as other officials in the West Wing, according to people familiar with those interactions, because the fighting was beneath his office. They're trying to make it look like everybody in the administration hates JD and looks down on him so he loses ground. This is the New York Times article, folks. New York Times. Is JD Vance the 28th frontrunner? Trump has questions. Why are they trying to take out Vance? Why are they so scared of this man? I don't know. But I got to tell you that usually if you're on the right side of history, the New York Times hates you. If you're on the wrong side of history, the New York Times loves you. Just saying. You know who the New York Times all-time favorite Republican was? John McCain. What does that tell you? But they go after stuff like this. And the Trump administration immediately fired back Stephen Chung, assistant to the president, White House director of communications. This isn't true. We denied it to the New York Times. They refused to run our quote. Complete fake news. This supposed conversation never happened. Again, why do they keep lying about Vance? And why No matter how much I expose it, do I still have people who believe it? I don't understand. You guys are so clear-eyed on so many things. And yet for some reason, you're letting this kind of stuff about Vance get to you. I don't understand it. But again, I always look as to who your enemies are. And if your enemies are the worst people in the world, usually you're pretty good. Just saying. Now, in all this, we had this very interesting thing happen from Trump's Dan Scavino guy. Now, many of you don't know who Dan Scavino is. Dan Scavino has been Trump's social media guy since the first term. He's one of the few people who has made it to the second term with Trump after he cleaned house. Him, Stephen Miller, the OGs, the ones that are true blue that Trump trusts more than anybody, made it through the first round to this one. And Dan Scavino has long been known to send messages to the people, those paying attention. And this morning at 2 a.m., he tweeted, "Every journey has an end." Well, this is where I get conspiratorial with you guys. Here's a Q post from June 1st, 2020. Roger Ball's been called, and it mentions... Oh, my bad. This was the wrong one. Ball's been called. It's the end. That's what it is. Ball's been called. Every journey has an end. It's a spiking. Now, whatever you want it to think, we have President Trump. Turns out well in the end, tweeting that today as well. I don't know. Whatever. It's weird. Is it something? Maybe not. Maybe something. But we're about to see if things are going to keep improving. It seems like we're being messaged to. And, we'll watch and see how it turns out. But it's June now. I think things are about to shift. Iran is ramping up, which usually happens before the end. The midterms, the Democrats are being exposed, and Trump, at his least popular because of gas prices, is starting to win back the House and Senate. We've cleansed a lot of people in the primaries. And then the justice aspect has been ramping up, as I just showed you guys. To me, it feels like we're about to head into a summer of momentum. And we'll wait and see how it plays out. Oh, yeah, and Tina Peters was freed today, too. Big deal. She's starting to do some interviews and get out there. So we're winning, guys. We're winning. And I think it's hard not to see it, honestly, from my perspective. But you guys make your own choice on that.